How'd you end up coming back?
Well, when my contract expired, and they wanted me to go to Portland, my mother was real sick at the time. She was battling cancer. So that was probably the worst time of my life. And then she passed away at 91. So I was home with my dad, and we got really tight, and I was an adopted only kid. And my parents were just wonderful. They were like Latin Ozzy and Harriet. I mean, just unbelievable people. Great homemaker. My daddy flew for Pan Am. My mother was a brilliant cook. Guys would always want to spend the night at my friends, because of her breakfast and because of the dinners. And, we had a pool. We lived in a house in the corners. I was just so lucky in so many ways growing up. But when I lost her, that really rocked me. And I'd never seen my dad cry. And, that really killed me too. So I stayed home with him and I was glad, I finished my degree in college and opened my first business, which was called Cherries at the time. It was a bar restaurant. It had a 20-year run in Ybor City. All the boys used to go there. And so I was real proud of that. My dad was proud of me. So that made me feel so good. But then unfortunately, he got lung cancer and he died. And that was probably about a year's battle, and which is horrible. And, you can imagine. But, we all go through our losses. So after that, I'd still stay tight with Arn and Rick whenever WCW or WWE, whichever company they're with, more so WCW because it was localized. They'd say, "Oh, we're going to be in Ybor City." After the matches, come to Cherries. Cherries was like 2,500 square feet. So Rick would have them, down the block. I mean, it was just ridiculous, So fortunate in so many ways. And I grew up in the bar business in Tampa. So, I talk to Rick and Arn all the time. And now this is a story, and not a lot of people, too many people know, I guess. When my parents died, I was inconsolable. And Rick and Arn, they demanded me to come to Charlotte. So for probably 5 Christmases, I would spend a week at Rick's house and a week at Arn's house. And that's the kind of special guys there are. You
Yeah.
see other stuff, you see, whatever. And Rick's got his detractors, not so much. But I could never turn against him because when I was at my lowest and my heart was just crushed, he opened up his home to me and his family, and they're like family to me still. Arn too, and Arn and I both have had our heartaches, God bless them. So recently. So those are the things you take with the wrestling business. You mentioned Pete Kidman earlier. Pete was a dear friend, loved him to death. Dave Pinzer, so many guys you get really close with. Pee Wee, God rest his soul, who's gone. Bobby Eaton, who's gone. Just so many great guys. That's what the business is about, though. I love it.
So how'd you end up going back?
Oh yeah. Well, I'd be home with Arn and Rick all the time, and again, this isn't me. This is them. Chief, look at and the reaction you get whenever you walk through the airport, whatever. And so they said, you need to come back. Get yourself a shave. Come down here. New boss Eric Bischoff. They're giving away guaranteed, et cetera. So I did. Rick or Arn. Rick was on the committee. Either Rick or Arn, one of the two. Set up a tryout match in Disney at MGM. When we go there for 10 days.
Right.
And Pete and Hoovy and all the boys would stay at my house because it was an hour away. Oh God. So yeah, I did good. I had to try a match and did good. But again, it was a constructive match. I didn't learn extemporaneously thinking in the ring at that point. Now you do. And Orndorff would tell me it takes about 1,000 matches till that light bulb goes on. And I agree. So I could do it by rote, but you could teach anybody to do it. Really, a monkey could do the moves by rote. But it's when you learn the psychology, as that's the tough part. How to get the fans up, how to get them down. They start chanting more, and you grab that headlock and sit down on it. Just
Right.
so many little things that when you put it together, you're seasoned. But until you do that, you're still green. So, but Bischoff hired me, and he was great to me. Great to me, paid me good money, but he didn't pay me money to have a cherries, to have a sushi on 7th, which was $1 million sushi bar that I was way ahead of my time. He didn't pay me to develop businesses. He paid me to be a professional wrestler. So if anything, I was neglected my responsibility as paid talent for him. But he was very good to me, and I always appreciate it. And He and I are way cool to this day, you know.
What do you think the biggest differences was between your first run and now your second run, as far as how the business was run?
The second time it was just so political. I mean, poor Kevin. Kevin would literally have to rewrite uh, Nitro on the fly. You know, he
Hmm.
had the whole format, everything done, and you know, but let's say, and I'm not, you know, stating a specific thing. Let's say Big Kev Nash, you know, had a little problem with something, whatever, and he'd say, "This doesn't work for me." Okay, well, but he's going up against Paige, who was Eric's best friend and was becoming a star in his own right. And Scott didn't like this because Scott and Kevin were brothers. Well, Hulk's not going to have something go wrong because Hulk's got creative control. You
Right.
know, Macho, forget it. That's a whole other set of thing there. And you're talking about some of the greatest stars ever. So when you've got
Right.
that many egos, and there's only so many young boys like us to do the jobs for them, and I wasn't on that level where it would mean anything, even if I would do it. You know, it's tough. Kevin almost lost his mind doing that. The pressures, and I can
Right.
understand why, because somehow you've got to convince out of 12 top guys, literal top guys in the history of the industry, somebody's got to do the job. Who does it?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that was the biggest thing. Back before, I think we were all just happy to have jobs. Colonel Parker drinking his natty lights, you know, playing gin. I'd be playing gin with Barbarian, you know, and then they taught me how to play it. Barbarian called me his Sakana. What's that mean, Barb? Oh, that's Japanese for fish, you know, and he'd take $50 a night from me, you know. So I later named a sushi bar I did down the road Sakana because it means fish. And I had a memory of Barbarian, who's one of the greatest guys ever.